The Prime Minister is on vacation. So too is the Attorney General. And some folks have been saying, well, why do they have to do it now? I mean, the same thing that many employers say, you sure you want to take that now? You want to save it for later on? Well, I was very, very encouraged when I heard the Employers Consultative Association coming out and reminding employers that there is great benefit, great return on investment for employees to go on vacations. And if they take their vacation, then you're going to find them more of an asset. Well, a past chair of the ECA and a current director is Keston Nancoo. Keston, I'm happy that your organization came out in this area to remind employers, hey guys, don't be so quick to accept what you hear in the public domain because there are great advantages to having this done. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. It's quite a pleasure seeing you after many, 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 many years.
And after all those many years, you look as though you're still into your 30s.
That's correct.
Careful on the many.
Okay.
Like many years is fine. Keston, thank you so much. Your organization, I know, not only work to assist employers, but because you look at the interests of employees, it puts you in a wonderful position to do what you have done this past week. Say, employers, come here. Let's talk about this thing called vacation. And let's talk about this thing where some of your employees prefer to be paid for their vacation. Let me tell you the advantage in them being on vacation. Detail that for me.
Sure. And before that, Ronnie, what I'd like to do, I always prefer in these conversations to create the context because I think the conversation, it makes it much easier for the discussion. There's some what I call fundamental truths. Healthy bodies and healthy minds are key enablers to improve productivity and enhance performance. Organizations get things done through its people. What is also very interesting is that there's an epidemic of lifestyle diseases which has led to decreased quality of life, premature deaths, and increased healthcare costs. This situation adds to the economic burden on society because of loss of productivity through absence from work due to illness and reduced performance while at work. That notion of presenteeism,
yes.
Just being there,
yes.
turning up for work and so on. And what is interesting about this, Ronnie, and to the wider listening audience, recognizing this, the importance of paid time off for a specific purpose of rest, relaxation, rejuvenation of the body, mind, spirit, and soul, and more importantly, the value of preserving workers' human capital and well-being. The international organization in 1970, June of 1970, at its 54th session, actually adopted the Holiday with Pay Convention. So they have actually recognized as an international body. You want to have, if you have a healthy workforce, then in terms of productivity and enhanced performance, because you have a lot of employers talking today about building a high-performance culture. What really does that mean? Are you prepared to create an enabling environment that will support that kind of activity, Now, let me quickly move on, if I may, to how this is regulated in the environment, because I know people may say, well, okay, yes, you have 3 weeks. And before that, let me just speak to the convention at a high level. The convention speaks to a minimum of 3 weeks. Paid leave, a minimum. Now, you would find in both in unionized and non-unionized establishment, it can go up to as high as 30 days. Now, the qualifying period is usually 12 months, okay? But you would have in instances where people would have worked for just over 6 months, so you have a qualifying period, 1 year, and also you have the 6-month situation.
That variable is dependent on the type of work, how exhausting it is, that sort of thing?
Not necessarily.
Just the ability, just the marketing ability.
Yeah, because
okay,
you want to establish a
okay.
principle whereby rather than having to waiver and all the rest of it, that organizations could work with. The other aspect of it is that the entitlement, some people say, you hear employees saying, well, I'm entitled to 3 weeks vacation leave, and therefore I am going on my leave. The answer from an advisory perspective is it ought to come out of consultation and collaboration between the employer and the employee, either with or without his or her representative.
Most beneficial to the employee and least disruptive to the employer.
Precisely, because you're talking about the exigencies. And what most organizations do, you have to facilitate that. You have a vacation leave roster, which makes life so much easier, so that you have a sense of when people are going. So that conversation becomes much simpler in terms of allowing people to proceed on their entitlement. The other aspect of it is an recommended uninterrupted 10 days. So rather than, some people go on leave, they come back, they're on call, their cell phone in their pockets and so on. That's not recommended.
And I think that's really important because while we will delineate on presenteeism in a moment, it is important that you have that total break, because the idea is not for the person having the time off, it's for them to rejuvenate and become more creative and bring back something to the workplace.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's true that process of rejuvenation, then the mind is able to be more creative, less stress, because a lot of us today, when you look at what's happening, I've seen some statistics recently about wellness. And because of the traffic jams and so on, the amount of cars on the road, we walk less. For example, I lived just up Donald Street here when I grew up, and I would walk to St. James. Now you're not finding that. You jump in your car. So you're talking about lifestyle diseases, diabetes, heart attacks, and all sorts of things. And the importance at the end of the day to every employer is to ensure that they can encourage and motivate their employees to live healthy lifestyles, because that is going to translate into productivity.
A better employee. It is 25 minutes away from 11 o'clock. You're inside Brunch. Name is Rennie Bishop. The voice you're hearing is that of ECA Director Keston Nancoo, and we are talking about the importance of employees taking vacation. I think employers are best advised to look at this the same way they would pay for an employee to continue his education. They will pay for this to be an investment into creativity, new creativity coming to the company, because a rested person, in addition to your workplace, the harmony in the workplace is heavily dependent on the individual being comfortable within self, and family life is important. Thus, vacation can be used as another way of cementing that sort of quality of life in the home.
And you're quite correct, Ronnie. As I indicated earlier, I experienced a presentation recently, and one of the comments made was the dark side of westernization. And the problem in terms of our culture, salt, sugar, fat, and all the rest of it. And more importantly, unhealthy behaviors leading to health risks, chronic disease, and employee-related expenses. So you really want to bring all of that into balance by encouraging and motivating your employee population to live healthy lifestyles, because it's beneficial to them and also beneficial to the employer in terms of, so if you can get that, a level of harmony in terms of bringing that balance together, you will find people are happier, they are more motivated. The cold notion of presenteeism will not be as evident as
in the 3 minutes we have here. I want to go into that area of how is it called? Presenteeism. I am present. The whole thing of being present. Presenteeism. That folks understand what that really is, because you can have a lot of people showing up to work on time, being there for the duration of the specified hours, but absolutely producing less than a third of what they should. So speak to that, please.
Yeah, and that's real. What you want to get ideally is people coming to work, because when you look at the length of time, the traveling time to get to the office and to begin work, I mean, it's really a drain, people coming from all different parts of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a challenge. So the notion of presenteeism should as far as is humanly possible, be eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be done through allowing the members of your employee population to proceed on paid vacation. Paid vacation
Mm-hmm.
as adopted and as articulated by the ILO Convention 132 of 1970.
The employee is not going to care about the employer's profits if the employer does not care about the employee's interest. I think that's 101.
Absolutely.
101. Director of the ECA, Keston, Nancoo, thank you so much for coming in this morning. I think folks will understand, even those in politics and otherwise, why sometimes you don't wait until the breakdown has taken place. What you do is you are proactive in ensuring it does not happen. And part of preventative health is the question of taking vacations to rejuvenate yourselves, as it were, becoming better for the country and or your employer. Yeah. Is that what we have said, right?
Because when you look at it, it's just the government of Trinidad and Tobago is just a large organization. Yes. And the CEO is the Prime Minister. Okay? So the health and well-being of these individuals, just as you would look into the private sector, as the case might be, you need to ensure that you have healthy bodies and healthy minds at the end of the day.
And we, as the board of directors of that government, must ensure that we invest to get better returns, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to get Rihanna to contradict us here a little bit. Director Nancoo, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
A pleasure.
You take care and have a good week.